Hi. We were afraid you people weren't going to make it.
We were having a meeting, our club.
Yeah, the reason that the lights were out was because of a game that we were playing. We have a special reason for asking you both over this evening. We want you to become members of our religious group.
Your witch's coven, don't you mean?
We prefer to think of it as the true religion. It's the mother of all beliefs. Witchcraft is the only honest religion that makes things happen now, in this life. And that's why all of us here in Lilith believe and practice it.
The music world was shocked by the passing of the Cranberries' lead singer Dolores O'Riordan on January 15, 2018. She was only 46 years old when her body was found in a London hotel. You know her voice, you know her songs. O'Riordan frequently talked about the values instilled in her during her childhood, which the Telegraph called old-fashioned, romantic, and Catholic. O'Riordan herself told the Irish Independent she believes in God and an afterlife, adding, "I believe in other dimensions. When people die, they go to another dimension, and we can communicate with them." She said part of her beliefs came from her experience saying goodbye to her father, and added he regularly came to her in dreams where she spoke with him.
Necromancy. Necromancy. A ceremony dating back to the pre-Christian era, is the art of reviving the dead. Most dangerous of all the occult rituals. It requires involvement with evil spirits by the person performing the act. Success in the ceremony will result in the death of that person, for he or she must adhere to the ancient rule. A life for a life. Oh my God.
These are the cards of the magician, the tarots. I'd like you to shuffle them, please. Now, the figurations and images symbolically signify all wisdom, all truths, and all knowledge of God and the universe. They permit us to enter into a world of unusual perception, a mystical trip to a place in which things are never quite what they seem. I'm going to turn over these cards one by one, and you'll be able to see through the cards into another world, a window to look into a world of fantasy or reality. The question will be, are you now living a reality looking at a fantasy? Or are you now part of a fantasy looking at reality?
So I'm not saying this is about the Matrix, possibly, but I'm not saying it for sure. But I am saying it for sure.
Now, this is what I like to say about The Matrix right now. It's a great movie. To me, it's a New Age Bible.
Drink.
It's bitter.
We summon the spirit of my son, Timothy. Speak to us, Timothy. Speak to us from the grave.
The time comes, you'll become one of us. You'll want to be. To perform the necromancy ceremony.
think that you believe yourself to be God.
No. No. Mrs. Brandon, I am not tempted by divinity. Only its power. The power of God, if you will. What I've developed here in Lilith has given me every power, except one. The one power I really want. Can you guess what it is? Necromancy. You understand that power, Mrs. Brandon. You know what it means. Necromancy is the true power of God. The power to bring back the dead.
I'm not becoming one of you witches. I told that to Mr. Cato.
Oh, did you?
And I don't believe that any of you have any kind of magical powers.
Well, then why are you so afraid of what it says in the Grand Grimoire about necromancy?
Because it said...
A life? For a life?
If I bring back Mr. Cato's son, then I'll have to take his place in the grave.
It's ablaze with the light of the fires, and we smiled, and the visions among us caused us to smile, the faithful and the faithless, and blind to the chanting, against the frenzy of flame, we sang ourselves to be your highest extinction one. I remember, O fire, how thy flames once enkindled my flesh. Those who saw that we received, Return, my son. Oh, ancient one, by the power you command, to destroy or to resurrect, we command you. Resurrect, my son.
Give thy gift of life, life to the child, life to the child, O Horned One. Life to the child, life to the child, O Horned One.
My son. He lives. My son lives. Thanks to thee, O Horned One. Thanks to thee.
Don't lay down with tears and agony. There's nothing to death. It's just stepping over into another plane. Don't be this way.
Bob, you are such a father as a seer, but also a man who's paid a tremendous price to open up just the dimensions of the supernatural to the body today. And I just, for one, want to say thank you for paying that price. And I know that over the years there's been so much misunderstanding because the things of the spirit cannot be understood by the natural man. They have to be discerned by the spirit.
No.
But the Queen, I simply must get out.
Oh, but you are outside.
What?
See for yourself.
Why, that's me. I'm asleep. Don't let her get away. Alice, wake up. Please wake up, Alice. Alice. Please wake up, Alice. 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 Will you kindly pay attention and recite your lesson?
I learned that heaven is for real, and you're gonna like it.
So, why water?
It's a universal conduit. It lubricates the transition from one plane to another. Now ask me if there's water in hell.
So, water in hell.
Sit. Normally only a portion of the body has to be suspended, but you wanted the crash course.
Yeah, I wanted the crash course. So what's gonna happen?
Lie down.
What do you mean lie down?
You have to be fully submerged.
For how long?
As long as it takes. Take a deep one.
actually disappeared physically on Earth, and no one could find me. My dad called police, FBI, police dogs. Everyone the whole Rollin, Missouri was trying to find, find me.
Yeah.
But I was gone, and it appeared right in front of the whole policeman crowd. And my mom started crying, and she's asking me, "Where were you?" It's like, "Mom, I was in heaven. I was with God." Well,
how long were you gone for?
7 hours. 6 hours. 6 hours.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And were you aware that you were gone?
I was actually watching myself from above. And when I was in heaven, I saw my family and the whole policeman in the house searching for me. So I saw myself gone.
No, it was different, as though I were looking up at them.
An hallucination like the others.
Oh, it didn't feel like the others. I didn't see myself. I was looking up at them. That's the real me, isn't it? Lying on the ground on that planet, dying. And this is the hallucination. This isn't real.
Today, a young man on acid realized that all matter is merely energy condensed to a slow vibration. That we are all one consciousness experiencing itself subjectively. There's no such thing as death. Life is only a dream, and we're the imagination of ourselves.
And this is exactly what mystics have been trying to tell us for so many years, that the world is an illusion, and that the real world and universe is a non-physical.
And of course she didn't believe me at that point. She is so grateful that I was right there, right in front of her eyes.
You mean you just appeared? Like you were gone and you appeared?
Yeah, but it wasn't like continuous like dust type of form.
Yeah.
It was half of a blink. It's hard to explain.
So you just showed up?
Yeah.
Kind of like Star Trek. Just beam me up, Scotty, and you were there. Woo!
Beam me aboard. Energize.
Energize. Bridge, it's shorted out again.
Gentlemen, beam me aboard.
We can't, Captain. Transporter is out again.
Mr. Scott, 20 seconds to detonation. Gentlemen, I suggest you beam me aboard.
But I was gone.
9, 8,
Mr. Scott.
6.
Fire now, Mr. Kyle.
5, 4.
Reset. Energize.
All decks, stand by. Shockwaves.
Do something.
We are, Doctor. Cross-circuiting to B.
Crazy way to travel, spreading a man's molecules all over the universe.
Mr. Scott, there was no deity involved. It was my cross-circuiting to B that recovered them.
One day I had a vision of heaven and galaxies and different dimensions. It's really, really mysterious at the same time.
Wow.
When I was in the throne room of God to start with, so I got to see what that looked like. I was upset because I didn't know what was happening. What God did is He used people or things that I liked to calm me down.
I was right. I heard Tuvok and Chakotay and the doctor. You're an alien. You've created all these hallucinations, haven't you?
This is what my species does. At the moment just before death, one of us comes to help you understand what's happening, to make the crossing over an occasion of joy.
And what is that?
Our matrix, where your consciousness will live. I was being truthful when I said it was a place of wonder. It can be whatever you want it to be.
Then why didn't you tell me this from the beginning? Why pretend to be my father?
Usually people are comforted to see their loved ones. It makes the crossing over a much less fearful occasion. I've done this many times, but I've never encountered someone so resistant.
One of the advantages of Eckankar being out here again in the 20th century is that there are so many of you seated right here in the audience who in one way or another, once or twice in your lifetime at least, who have had some kind of experience that the average person doesn't have. Near-death experiences, out-of-the-body soul travel, astral projection, sometimes seeing visions and all this. Most people, I would say in most cases, it's better people don't have these experiences all the time, because the people who do are generally unable to handle it and are very much out of balance. But to most of you who have had these experiences, they came unannounced, often before you even heard about Eckankar. And then you wonder, what happened to me? Am I going crazy?
You create the world of the dream. We bring the subject into that dream, and they fill it with their subconscious.
How could I ever acquire enough detail to make them think that it's reality?
Well, dreams, they feel real while we're in them, right? It's only when we wake up that we realize something was actually strange. Let me ask you a question. You never really remember the beginning of a dream, do you? You always wind up right in the middle of what's going on.
I guess, yeah.
So how did we end up here?
Well, we just came from the,
Think about it, Ariadne. How did you get here? Where are you right now?
We're dreaming?
You're actually in the middle of the workshop right now, sleeping. This is your first lesson in shared dreaming. Stay calm.
People, is that table solid? They say, of course it is. Well, it isn't. It can't be. It's made of atoms, right? And atoms are not solid. Tell me how it does that. Our minds do that by turning vibrational fields into apparently physical objects.
Do not try and bend the spoon. That's impossible. Instead, only try to realize the truth.
What truth?
There is no spoon.
There is no spoon?
Then you'll see that it is not the spoon that bends, it is only yourself.
The bottom line is this: everything is conscious. What we call creation is like an ocean of infinite energy, which is manifesting itself in different forms.
The space between things is anything but empty. It is full of a living, pulsating essence that is so new scientists have yet to agree on a single term. Some are calling it a quantum hologram, very technical sounding name.
What is the Matrix? Control. The Matrix is a computer-generated dream world, built to keep us under control in order to change a human being into this.
No. I don't believe it. It's not possible.
I didn't say it would be easy, Neo. I just said it would be the truth.
Stop!
I deny this reality. The reality is a computation matrix.
The Matrix is a computer-generated dream world.
The possibility that we could be living in an illusion or simulation which obscures our true reality has appeared through the ages in a diverse array of thought experiments and religious writings. The Hindu religion has the idea that the phenomenal world is an illusion, called Maya, separate from the eternal reality, which is God. Buddhism has a similar concept of elusive reality, samsara, and it sees the goal of enlightenment as freeing ourselves from the suffering of attachment to this plane of life. The Taoist story, Zhuangzi Dreamed He Was a Butterfly, features a dreamer who doesn't know he's himself and not a butterfly.
Have you ever had a dream, Neo, that you were so sure was real?
Gnosticism has the idea of a demiurge, a kind of demigod who created the flawed system in which we find ourselves, while a higher truth exists beyond that structure. The Gnostics also emphasize knowledge as the key to spirituality and paint ignorance as humankind's major obstacle.
Only try to realize the truth.
The philosophy is also shaped by Immanuel Kant's discussion of how the way that we filter reality through tools like language leads to self-deceit and a blindness to the truth.
I think it's a sort of straightforward extrapolation of the sort of stuff we get in Kant, and the idea that the world is, in some way or other, a construction of what's going on in my mind.
Philosopher René Descartes imagined the concept of an evil demon who's intentionally deceiving him. A 20th century update to this, the brain in a vat thought scenario, imagines a brain connected to a supercomputer that simulates reality. In other words, it's pretty much the premise of The Matrix.
How would you know the difference between the dream world and the real world?
Science fiction writer Philip K. Dick is another big influence on The Matrix's thought.
We are living in a computer-programmed reality, and the only clue we have to it is when some variable is changed.
Deja vu is usually a glitch in the Matrix. It happens when they change something.
In the years since The Matrix, the Wachowskis both came out as trans women, and this has also inspired many to read the story as a parable of gender dysphoria.
You're an alien. You created all these hallucinations, haven't you?
This is what my species does. At the moment just before death, one of us comes to help you understand what's happening, to make the crossing over an occasion of joy.
And what is that?
Our matrix, where your consciousness will live. I was being truthful when I said it was a place of wonder. It can be whatever you want it to be.
Why is it so hard? Look, your brain is meat. It rots and disappears. Did you really think that's all there was to you? Like you're in your house right now. You're in your house. It doesn't mean you are your house. House falls down, you get out and walk away.
But it looks like I rebuilt, huh?
You see a body because you like seeing one. We're seeing what we choose to see. Let me show you something.
Where's all the paint?
You don't need it anymore. This is your world now. Thought is real. Physical is the illusion. Ironic, huh?
We're seeing the shift of consciousness between the age of Pisces and the age of Aquarius. So we're leaving the old paradigm behind, which is about this spiritual illusion kind of way of understanding ascension. And now we're in the age of truth, which is understanding that, you know, our thoughts and our feelings are creating reality around us, and we are creating our future every moment. And so right now, when people are saying, what is it like to be in the Matrix? Well, the Matrix is the old world paradigm.
We are caught in a 3D reality, and when we got caught, we lost our ability to see the dimension from which we came. We came here in groups because we wasn't about to try this alone. We are light caught in matter, souls caught in the body. You think that this present life is your beginning, but you've been here far longer than you can imagine. You were entrapped by the Anunnaki when they created the net at the beginning of the age of Pisces. It's so sad to see the predicament that we are in, because we are in a world that is out for our infinite enslavement in this dimension. You have been tricked into believing that you're just human, that you have one life to live, and that you have to worship an invisible God to be free. But the truth is, you're more than the body. You have an infinite life to live, and you are a God particle from the source. Everything you've learned on this plane is a lie. The world isn't round.
Your appearance now is what we call residual self-image. It is the mental projection of your digital self.
Are you tired of arrogant theologies and ideologies that claim to have all the answers, but when you get right down to it, really aren't based on much more than unfounded assumptions? My name is Andy Klutz, and I'd like to talk to you today about solipsism. Richard Dawkins likes to tell everybody that there's no evidence for a God, but where's the evidence for Richard Dawkins? Where's the evidence for anybody? I know I exist because I do. I know, I can tell. But I don't know that you exist. Maybe you're just a figment of my imagination. I don't know. You don't know either. So maybe you and Richard Dawkins and everybody should stop pretending like you know all this stuff that you just don't know. If you're interested in learning more about solipsism, come to solipsismeetup.com, where you can find other people who know that other people probably don't exist.
So I'm not saying this is about the Matrix, possibly, but I'm not saying it for sure, but I am saying it for sure about this stream of movies, year after year after year after year, that are portraying the very dystopian machine-controlled society that they want to take us into. Because it's called preemptive programming. What they're doing is systematically making us subconsciously, consciously too more and more, but subconsciously familiar with that world. So that as it comes in for real, it's less of a chasm, it's less of a shock, because we're being prepared for it. Because it's all a mind game, it's all a perception game. The whole thing is a perception game.
You know, I want to share something. I've done a lot of shamanic work in the last few years. And I've even performed exorcisms. And it's no joke, this stuff is real. You know, like when you're in a shamanic environment and people are releasing heavy vibrations, you know, you will encounter some sort of spiritual attacks. So I had to learn how to deal with this, you know, like knives and bullets just will not protect you from these etheric beings. So I went through a lot of that last year, and you know, that's the reason why I got all these powerful tools around me. I work with these tools because it's important to protect your energy field. When you're around people who are like not of a healthy frequency, you're going to feel drained. And that's how you know instantly when you walk into a room, is it a healthy vibration in there or is it not?
All of this is unreal. We judge reality by the response of our senses. Once we are convinced of the reality of a given situation, we abide by its rules. We judge the bullets to be solid, the guns to be real. Therefore, they can kill.
What are you trying to tell me? That I can dodge bullets?
You won't have to.
If we do not allow ourselves to believe that the bullets are real, they cannot kill us. Exactly. I know the bullets are unreal. Therefore, they cannot harm me.
There'd always be some doubt.
The smallest doubt would be enough to kill you.
I'm not becoming one of you witches. I told that to Mr. Cato.
You've waited too long. Witchcraft is like a drug that you can't turn away from once you've been seduced to its pleasures.